Hello, welcome to Mary's Stitching Corner. My name is Mary and this is my channel about cross stitch. I'd like to say welcome. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new, I hope you like what you see and you'll stay around and subscribe and comment, like, all that stuff. So it's been a while. Forgive me for looking down a lot because I will be checking my notes so that I don't forget anything. I think the last time I filmed a video was the end of December when I did my WIP parade. And I had told you at that time I probably wouldn't film in January as my brother was going to be here. But I ended up not filming in February either. So anyway, life happens. I tell you a lot of plans and most of the time they change. So we're here now, March 1st, and we started off March with another snowstorm. This has been the snowiest winter in about 20 years here in northern Utah. So we're kind of sick of the snow, ready for spring. Last week we had a huge storm that came through and I measured the snow in my backyard and we had 23 inches of snow in less than 24 hours. So yeah, we're ready for some warmer weather and sunshine. So hopefully, we still have some snowstorms predicted for the next week, but hopefully it will get better sooner rather than later. So because my brother was here, I felt like I didn't get a lot of stitching done and didn't feel like I had a lot to show you, but I have filled a laundry basket full of stuff. And so today what I'm going to show you is I have some FFOs. Those are fully finished objects. I have some finishes, and I found an old finish when I was looking through some boxes recently, so I'll show you that. I've got some new starts, some WIPS, works in progress. And even though I said last time that I was going to try and only stitch from stash, I have some haul, quite a bit of haul actually. I have some Stitchy kindness, and then I thought I would show you kind of what I'm planning to do or hoping to do throughout the year. I spent the last couple of weeks kitting up the projects that I would like to work on this year, so I thought you might like to see those. There's a lot of them. Somehow I think I have a lot more time than I really have, but I would say most of them are small to medium, so, you know, we'll see. And some of them kind of came over from last year because I had some plans for last Halloween where I had a bunch of starts planned, but then that's when the family got sick with COVID and that didn't happen. So, and then I will talk to you about life and what's been going on. And so we'll take it from there. So I have some fully finishes to share with you. One of them I fully finished myself, and the other two I sent off to a finisher. And so I'll start with the one that I did. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. So my friend told me about a Flosstuber called Kitten Stitcher, I think. And she has a video tutorial of framing your cross stitches using the pinning method. So I had tried lacing my projects before. I just couldn't get it to work. So this time I tried the pinning method, and I just realized I don't have my glasses on. and I don't know where they are. Please hold. Okay, I'm back. I'm surprised I got that far without my glasses, but anyway, now I can see better. So I finished this piece. I had stitched it a year and a half ago. It's by Little House Needleworks, I think, called Silent Night. And I just found this simple frame on Amazon and framed this the other day, and it's not perfect, it's not perfectly straight, but I think it turned out really cute. So I'm very happy with it. This was stitched on Smoky Blue 18 count Ada by Dove Stitch. It's a fabric flare fabric, but I got it through Dove Stitch on Etsy, and I just really like how it turned out. So I'm excited to get some more frames and start framing some of my things myself, because it's so expensive to get it professionally done. So the other two are the ones that I sent off. Now I don't know where to put everything. The ones I sent off to a professional framer that I had found. I'd seen some of her stuff on Instagram, and it's kind of scary sending your stuff off in the mail to somebody, but I'm so glad that I did. And her name is Alyssa, and she is from Starry Nights Studio. She has an Etsy shop where she sells finishing items, you know, to display your stuff on. And she has her own website, and she's on Instagram. So the first one I will share is, oh gosh, I forgot to take the one off the shelf. I know I say this a lot, but it doesn't matter how organized you think that you are. When you sit down and start filming, you realize that you're not organized. So this is V is for Valentine by, it'll come to me. Anyway, this is how she finished it for me. So it's a flat fold. I think I chose fancy flat fold with bow. That was one of the options that she had. So I'm absolutely thrilled with how this turned out. And I had it displayed for Valentine's Day, or Valentine's season, whatever. Anyway, I love it. And her work is impeccable. It's sturdy, it's just so well done that I would highly recommend her if you're looking for somebody to do finishing. I'm not associated with her at all. I'm just a customer that is very, very happy with her work. And I need to pause again to get the other piece. Just a second. Sorry about that. So this was Liberty Lodge by Plum Street Samplers, and this is how she finished it. Again, I just love what she did with it. I think it's beautiful. And she has a whole range of options you can choose from, how you want to have them finished. So I'm very excited to have some things finished and displayed. And hopefully that will be something that I can focus on over the next year, and instead of just having a whole bunch of stuff stuck in a box. Okay, so I have some finishes. Let's see. You know, I've been working on the Little House Needleworks monthly sampler, and I can't remember which one I showed you last time, but I finished 3 recently. Maybe one of them you saw already, but I'll show it again. So I finished June. Oops. This is on a 28 count linen. So we've got June, and then I did July. .28 count linen. I think it's the same as the last one. And I just finished August. This one has a ton of mistakes. Most of my projects have some mistakes in them. This one I really messed up in a few places, but I managed to fudge it, and I don't think anybody will notice except for me. So I really like these, but I'm getting a little bit bored with stitching them. So I just started September. So I've got September, October, November, and December to do. So I just have 4 left to do. And I'll just keep working through and trying to get one done every month. And I'll be very happy when they're done. As I said, I really like them. They're just, it's almost like stitching the same thing again and again, because even though each design is different, they're very similar. So, and another finish I have is, and I love this one. This was my New Year, New Start, and it is Dancer by Barbara Anna Designs. And I stitched this using all the called for floss and fabric. And I absolutely love how this turned out. I really like this fabric. I've decided I really enjoy stitching on, I think this is Lugana, 32 count basalt splash Lugana, I think. And I love this fabric. This is the second project I've stitched on it, and I have one more that I'm gonna stitch on it, but yeah, I just love how this turned out. I really enjoy Barbara Anna Designs, and I have quite a few that I have plans to start. And then I had a big finish. This is my New Year, New Start last year in 2022. And it was called this year on, it was one of my WIPS numbers for January. And I decided to make it my focus piece for that month. And I was able to finish it. So this is Celtic Winter by Lavender and Lace. And I absolutely love it. Oops. So this is stitched using the called for fabric and floss, and there's a lot of beading in there. So I'm very, very happy with that. So that means I've stitched 3 of the Celtic ladies. I've got Celtic Christmas, Celtic Spring, and Celtic Winter. So I have 2 more left to do, summer and autumn. I may or may not start one this year. They're big projects. They do stitch up faster than you would think, but I'd like to focus on smaller to medium projects this year, I think. So I'm very happy with that. This one is for my daughter, Sarah. She's a winter baby, a New Year's baby. So this one will go to her eventually. All right, so now we can look at new starts. And I just started this one the other night. And I don't know why, because it's not like I don't have enough things going on. But I've had this chart for quite a long time. When I found my local needlework store when we moved up here, this was one of the charts that I bought because they had this stitched up. And I was new to, even though I had been cross stitching for many, many years and hadn't taken a break from cross stitching, I mostly was stitching kits at the time, like dimensions kits. So I was out of the loop completely when it came to all of the, just everything that was new in cross stitch. Things like Q-snaps, needle minders, the samplers that were so popular. Everything was just, all the new designers, I just had no idea were out there. And so when I went to the store that day, I was kind of overwhelmed, and I just bought, I think I bought like 4 things that day, and this was one of them. I did go back like a week later and bought a lot more, but this was stitched up and I really, really liked it. So it's Stony Creek Family Roots. And I think this will stitch out quite quickly. It's relatively small. It's stitched on 14 count white Aida, and it's only going to be 6 by 6 when it's finished. So I got a small start on this. It's very wrinkly. So that's my start. It's using DMC flosses, except for this right here, which is an over-dyed floss by Threadworks. So this will be the leaves and the tree, which I think is really pretty. So I'm excited to keep working on this one. As I said, I think it will be a relatively quick stitch. Then I started on Little House Needleworks September. Country Cottage Needleworks. I always get those two mixed up. And this is my start. I cannot remember what this fabric is. I got it at my LNS. It's 28 count. And it's an even weave, but I can't remember the color. I'm sorry. So I'll work on that one throughout the month and hopefully get that done in March. Another new start is Luck of the Irish by Mill Hill Buttons and Beads. I really like these kits. And this is what I have done so far. And most of this is stitched with 3 strands of floss. So I feel like it's kind of messy looking, but I think once the beading's done, I won't notice the stitching as much. But I really like the colors. And I think I've mentioned before that my mother was Irish, and I grew up in Scotland, but I'm only first generation Scots on my mum's side and third generation Scots on my dad's side. All of my ancestry goes back to Ireland. Eventually it goes back to Norway, but for hundreds and hundreds of years it's in Ireland. When I did my DNA, I'm 98% Irish. So anyway, I'm really enjoying this one. And I don't think it'll be ready for St. Patrick's Day this year. I could get it done if I just focused on that one, but that's not going to happen. And another one, I've had a lot of new starts. Okay, so last month, no, December, I think, I worked on the Prairie Schooler spring something, and I loved it so much that I went and got the rest of the seasons. It was one of my favorite things to stitch, and this is turning out to be the same. This is Prairie Schooler Winter Wind. So I'm working on this right here. I love it. I don't know what it is about these Prairie Schoolers, but I just absolutely adore working on them. So this is on 18 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I'm using the called for floss, which is all DMC. So this one I think I'll get finished this month. So this was a new start and part of my haul. So when my brother was here, we took him to lots of different places. He's never been to the Salt Lake area before, so he really likes trains, airplanes, car racing, all that kind of stuff. So we took him to a train shop. His hobby is he builds miniature model railways. And there's a train shop here in town that we took him to that sells supplies for that stuff, which buying it over here is a lot cheaper than buying it over there. So we took him there, and of course it was only 10 minutes from my LNS, the Craft Center of Fine Stitchery. So I had to go there. I mean, I had to. So that was fine, and I have some haul from there that I can show you. Another day we took him up to a place about an hour from here, north of here, the Hill Air Force Hill Air Force Museum. And that just happened to be 4 miles from Shepherd's Bush. So how could I not go to Shepherd's Bush? Years ago, like 25 years ago, Shepherd's Bush was my local needlework store. I lived about 15 minutes away from it, but I haven't been there since. So it's been about 25 years since I've been in the store. And I just couldn't not go. So I had forgotten how amazing that shop is. I mean, my LNS Craft Centre Fine Stitchery is amazing. I love it. That's the one I go to all the time. But Shepherd's Bush, I have to say there's something magical about it. It's got all these nooks and crannies. It is packed with stuff. It's amazing. It's almost overwhelming, actually, when you go in at first. You really would need to spend a few hours there or all day there, to check everything out. But my brother was there, my daughter was there, and I tried to be fast. I think we spent about an hour there. So I ended up buying some stuff that was stitched, and they had models on the walls. So it made it easier for me to say, oh, I like that, and buy that way. So this one, as you know, if you watch me before, I like to stitch patriotic things. And this one is My Home Sweet Home by Shepherd's Bush. And that's, most of what I bought there was their own stuff. So I started this, and it came in a kit. So it had the floss and the fabric and everything there. And it's a little bit crooked in my Q-snap, but this is what I have done so far. And I am really, really enjoying it. It was funny, my brother's like, why is so much of their stuff got sheep in it? And I'm like, well, Shepherd's Bush. So this is 32 count Country French Cafe Mocha, and it uses WIPS Dye Works floss. So very much enjoying that, and I'm hoping to go back to Shepherd's Bush again in the spring and spend a little bit more time there. So another thing I did that I have never done before is I joined a mystery stitch along. And I don't really have a picture of what it's going to be. But part 1 came out in January, which is what I've stitched. And then part 2 came out a couple of days ago. I haven't started that part. So this is the British Isles by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And this is part 1. So this is being stitched on 18 count Aqua by this fabric flare. I bought it through Dove Stitch. I don't know, maybe somebody can clarify, is Dove Stitch kind of the same as fabric flare, or do they just carry fabric flare fabrics? Not quite sure. Anyway, I really like this fabric, and this has been a fun stitch so far. I like how colorful it is. It's got Edinburgh Castle here. It's got a kilt for Scotland, the Isle of Man, Angel of the North. This represents the lobster in the North Sea, fish and chips, York Castle, and I can't remember what this is. So the next part comes down here. And I will be starting part 2 over the next few days. So it's kind of fun. I mean, it's always a risk to start a mystery stitch along because you don't know whether you'll really like it or not. I don't know how this is going to all come together, but I'm enjoying it so far. So it's been kind of fun. Okay, those are my new starts, and now we can move on to the WIPS. So I do whip go. And this, I know it doesn't work for everybody, but this really works for me. So last month it was Celtic Winter and the monthly sampler, the Country Cottage Needleworks. And I give myself 6 hours, that I have to do 6 hours in the month on each project that's called minimum. So like I said, when Celtic Winter was called, I decided, okay, that's one of my bigger projects. I'll make that my focus piece for the month. And then so Prairie Schooler Winter Wind was called last month, and Twilight Bridge by Dimensions was called last month. And because Twilight Bridge is one of my bigger projects, I made that my focus piece for February, and I worked on it all month. So this is Twilight Bridge by Dimensions Gold Collection. And I'm using everything that's in the kit. So I made really good progress, mostly working on the cottage. And this is where I'm at. I say this every time, Dimensions kits can be challenging, but just the way they use color and texture, I just think it looks really, really good. So I think I had this part done. So I've kind of been working through here. But every time I think, oh look, I've got a lot done, I realize this isn't even a quarter of the chart. I'm almost done with the first quarter. It would come over here. But it's a lot of work. But I love how it looks. And I really like that with Whip Go, this was called, and maybe I wouldn't have felt like stitching it. If I was going through all my whips, I maybe would have been thinking, no, I really don't feel like doing that. And it would have sat there again. So Whip Go helps me focus on a particular piece, and whether I feel like stitching it or not, it helps me just have progress in a lot of these things. And so for me, it really, really works. And usually once I pick up a piece that's been called and I think, oh, like yesterday or this month's numbers, one of them I wasn't very excited about, but when I started stitching on it, I've been really enjoying it. And that is, so for this month, it was Christmas Jar Ornaments by Dimensions. And that's the one I wasn't really excited to work on because, you know, it's not Christmas, and I don't always love stitching on plastic canvas. But as I said, I enjoyed it a lot once I started. So this is the kit, and this is the one I'm working on right here. And I will do a minimum of 6 hours on this one this month. And this is how far I've gotten. So I really like how it's turning out. I like the colors. I think it's going to be really cute. So that will be fun. And right now I'm just doing like half an hour a day on it. And the other call for March, it was interesting because I had actually pulled this one out to work on the other day because it was just calling to me. And this was the number, one of the numbers for this month. So I was very, very happy that this one was called. And I will make this my focus piece for the month because it's one of my large projects. And it is All Creatures Great and Small by Barbara Anna Designs. And I started in the middle. So this is the middle section. You can see I'm working right here. Then I'll move over and do the sides. So last time I showed this to you, I think I had finished the house and this flower. So in the last few days I've finished this flower and these words and started on the grass down here. And this is being stitched on 20 count vintage country mocha using the called for anchor floss. And I love it. So I hope to make quite good progress this month on this one. So those are my WIP Go projects for the month. And actually those are my WIPs. Those are all of my WIPs, I think. Doesn't seem like that much, but like I said, when my brother was here, I didn't have a ton of time to work on things. So let's show you my haul. So, as I said, I went to Craft Centre Fine Stitchery and I went to Shepherd's Bush. Oh, there's one thing I was going to show you. I was going through boxes looking for photographs to show my brother, and I came across this piece that I had stitched years ago. Maybe 20 years ago, I don't know. And it used to be framed and hanging in my house. But something happened to the frame. I think maybe, I really don't know. I know the frame got broken, and so it just had been put in a box. And I'll tell you anyway. I'll show you and then I'll tell you. So this is Autumn Angel by Lavender and Lace. Don't have any idea what the fabric is. I'm sure I used the called for floss. These were the red here, were fancy flosses. So the funny thing is, when I pulled this out just the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, I have not stitched a bunch of stuff in that sleeve. And this had been hanging in my house for 10 years or more, and I had never noticed that. So anyway, this is on sticky board. So I'm not sure. I'd like to stitch those pieces that I've missed, but I'm not sure what to do about it. It would be nice just to stick it in a frame like this, but I don't know. I also think these beads may have tarnished. They're not, unless it was a vintage looking bead or something that was used. I don't know, it's hard to tell. But I love it, and I want to frame it again and get it hung up again, but now that I know those missing stitches are there, it's going to be hard not to notice. Okay, now we can move on to haul. I tried to be sensible when I went to the stores, but it's hard. All right. Well, I also bought some stuff online. So some of the stuff that I have is going to just be printed in black and white. So I bought buttons and beads, Mill Hill Buttons and Beads, Main Street. Spring Series, Main Street. It's the ice cream shop. So I really, as I said, I really like doing these, and they have really nice frames to buy. They're really, really easy to frame, which is partly why I like them. And this is also Mill Hill Buttons and Beads Autumn Series, and it's called Wanda's Wands. A Halloween piece. And another Buttons and Beads Autumn Series, Mill Hill Buttons and Beads Haunted Tower. This was stitched up in the store and it looks amazing. So I'm excited to do these. I'll probably add to that collection. These are the things I got online. I actually won this one. This was a contest that Primrose Cottage Stitches had on Instagram, and I won this. And it's called White Christmas. And I'm sorry it's in black and white, but it's, here we go. These are, I think it's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 snow globes. And they're so cute. The called for floss is just really, really cute colors. So I'm excited to do those. Maybe it's four pieces. So that was fun to win this. And they're small, and I think they'll stitch up very fast. So I'm looking forward to that. I also bought a couple of charts from Stitchy Princess Black. And she's the designer she's from the Ukraine. I think she's still in the Ukraine, but just going through such a hard time with everything that's going on. So this is Miss Winter. And this one is the nativity scene. And you can find her on Etsy, Stitchy Princess on Etsy. Alright, so I got St. Patrick's House Trio by Waxing Moon Designs. Luck by Bent Creek. I got Blessed Be the Peacemakers by Toad in the Garden. It's Just reminded me of pioneer times. We live in pioneer country. This was stitched up in shepherd's bush and it looked amazing. Seeds of Freedom by Silver Creek Samplers. Bless Our Land by Plum Street Samplers. Country Cottage Needleworks, Land That I Love. This was stitched in Shepherd's Bush and they have a conversion, a floss conversion, which uses deeper colors, and I really, really like it. So I'll be using their conversion. This was also stitched up in Shepherd's Bush. And if you watch, one of my favorite floss tubers is Felicia at Mouse Potato Designs. She's hilarious. I love her. And she's, oh my gosh, she uses French knots in her pieces that are, it's incredible. I struggle with French knots. She is the queen of French knots. She is stitching these, and I didn't know that before I got these. This was stitched up in Shepherd's Bush again, but Felicia is doing the sheep all in French knots, and just amazing. So this is a 4-piece set by Jardin Privé, which is one of my favorite designers. So this is part 1. So basically it's history of sheep. That's part 1. Part 2. Part 3. And part 4, and you can stitch them together, which is what I will do and is what Felicia is doing, and it looks like this. And for some reason I want to stitch these this year, and for some reason I missed kitting it up, so that will be added to my new starts. This is Hands-On Design Block Party. F is for flag. So this again was stitched up in Shepherd's Bush, and they had this done. So I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. And it really looked amazing. And this is a Shepherd's Bush design called Liberty Notes. I told you I liked patriotic stuff, so I'm looking forward to doing that. And lastly, another Shepherd's Bush. This is a kit. Again, it's called There Dwells My Heart. So I'm excited to work on these. Once you see my things that are kitted for this year, you'll think, what are you thinking? Nobody has that kind of time. And I do have a lot of time because I am at home a lot. So before I get into my kitted projects, I want to share with you some stitchy kindness I got. So my friend Patty said, I have a chart here. I know you like to do patriotic stuff. Do you want this chart? And I said, sure. And it's Stacy Nash Primitives, Summer at Hollyberry Farm. So Patty said, okay, I'll send it. But then when I received it, she had sent me a box of goodies, including this project bag that she had made, which I think looks amazing. This is my very first handmade project bag. I am so excited. And I think this is fabric by Teresa Kogut, I think. And the fabric inside. It's so cute. And she sent me a bunch of goodies. She sent me floss. Sorry. So she sent me floss and some silky threads, which I'm very excited to try. Scissor fob. A needle minder. And these beautiful scissors. Absolutely gorgeous. I haven't started using anything yet because I wanted to share it first. Patty, thank you so much. You are just a sweetheart and I appreciate you more than you know. Thank you for your friendship. So, I'm excited to use this project bag. It's so cute. All right, so kitted projects. Prairie Schooler, All Hallows Eve. This had been something I had planned on for last October, which didn't work out, and I'm going to stitch it on this, which is from Duff Stitch on Etsy, Fabric Flare, 18 count, something, I can't remember. So I plan on, when I finish a project, I can bring another project in. This was also haul, which will be a new start this year, and this was hanging in the craft center of Fine Stitchery, and it's just stunning. So Plum Street samplers, American sampler, just looks amazing in person. I'm using the called for floss. Over-dyed floss. It looks like Weeks Dye Works. And this is 20 count vintage country mocha. This is one of the bigger projects. I started on this series, but this was actually a finish that I don't think you saw. A finish and a start. So this is Valentine House Trio by Waxing Moon Designs. So I finished one. This is 18 count taupe, Fabric Flare. Whenever I tell you about Fabric Flare fabric, I always get it at dovestitch.com on Etsy. And I barely started another one. So I'd like to finish these this year. These are on my WIP Go chart, so at some point they'll be called. And these are smalls. They stitch up relatively quickly. Primrose Cottage Stitches, Be Happy. This will be a quick stitch. And also ABC by Primrose Cottage Stitches. Again, a quick stitch. And I will be stitching it on 28 count winter white linen, which I have had for many, many years. This was another Halloween plan that didn't happen. I don't have the... Sorry, I've got the picture hidden. This is called Witchy Dreams by Barbara Anna Designs. This is Fabric Flare fabric. Smoky, hazy gray. I think this is, yes, hazy gray, 18 count Ada. And Holy Night by Barbara Anna Designs. Another small. So even though there's tons of projects here, a lot of them are small. And I'll be using the 32 count Basalt Splash with white dots, is what it's called. Lugana. And I think what I'll do is just, when it's time to pick a new project, I'll just put it in the spinning wheel online and have that choose it for me. Okay, these ones I've had for a while. And I've only done one. This is Patriotic Barn Trio. And I have done Justice. So I want to get the other two, Liberty and Freedom, done this year. And also Preserving Liberty by Waxing Moon Designs. And I'm stitching them using the called for floss on 18 count Vintage Country Mocha. And I've got all the fancy flosses. I don't know how people keep their flosses so tidy, because it doesn't work for me. Okay. This is another one I saw in the Craft Centre of Fine Stitchery. The Cricket Collection, Be Ye Thankful. And this will be stitched on 18 count linen Ada. It's like raw linen. I guess the color is linen, but it's Ada. I'm looking forward to that. I've seen that stitched up at the LNS as well, and it's really, really nice. Jardin Privé, Lady Halloween. This was another Halloween start I didn't get to do. Laura at Stitching by the Shore stitched this one, and it looks incredible. And she was the one actually that inspired me to get it. So look, I have a needle. I was all ready to go with this one and just didn't happen. So I think this is Lavender from dovestitch.com, my fabric flare. using the code for floss, but I'm going to add some brighter colors like oranges and greens in there. That's one of the bigger ones I'll be doing. Then I have the 2 prairie schoolers that I'm going to do to finish out the seasons. This is Summer Breeze. And I'm doing them all on Vintage Country Mocha, 18 count, using the code for floss. And Autumn Leaves. And at Craft Center Fine Stitchery, they had added all these buttons, which are so cute. And I may find buttons to go with each of these. And those don't take up a ton of time either. Do you think I'm crazy yet for wanting to start all this stuff, or thinking I can start all this stuff this year? This is another Halloween one I didn't get to do. It's Plum Street Samplers and it's called The Addams Family. And I had some kind of neutral linen for this, but I'm actually thinking I don't know, maybe this is too bright. This is 32 count plush linen by Fortnite Fabrics. So I don't know. I'm not convinced yet that I've found the right fabric for this one. And Weeks Dye Works and Classic Color Works floss. I'm starting to think I'm crazy now that I'm going through all this stuff. This one I just got, and I think this will be my birthday start this year, if I don't choose to start it before. So this is Plum Street Samplers. You've seen this all over the place. This is the day. And I haven't chosen a fabric for this yet. So these are the flosses. Classic Color Works, Weeks Dye Works, and DMC. And I think Patty just ordered this one. No, I'm not done yet. I'm getting there, but I've even run out of project bags to hold them all. Jardin Privé Carré. I did one similar. I've got it framed over there, and I really enjoyed it, and these go relatively quickly. If you stitch it on say you stitched it on a 28 count, it's only 7 by 7. It's 102 by 102. So that one's not too big. And I think this is 28 count white, which is what I stitched the other one on. This is another Jardin Privé. Basically Quaker Farm. And I got some red sulky for this. I was going to stitch up in this fabric, but now I'm thinking I might use white, and I may use this for This Is the Day. This is To Die For Fabrics, parchment. 18 count. I'm very excited to start this one. And this is a new designer to me. She's on Etsy, Little Dove Designs, and this is called Adjust Your Sails. I'm very excited about doing this one. It's all DMC floss. I haven't chosen a fabric for that, but I think I'll choose probably a light blue. And this one I just bought the other day, because why not? So this is Salt Lake City by Awesome Pattern Studio. I did one of theirs called Glasgow, which is my hometown, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So this is Salt Lake City. I don't actually live in Salt Lake City, but not too far. Probably about half an hour south of Salt Lake. So this printed off super bright. The colors aren't true to what it's supposed to look like, so I'm very excited about this. I haven't chosen a fabric for that one. And this one is Barbara Anna Designs. Butterfly Dreams. Another small. And I'll probably stitch it on 18 count Witch Oat, very light pewter, using the code for DMC. And the last one. This is Barbara Anna Designs, Floral Dreams. I was going to stitch it on this 32 count Murano. I'm not sure what color it is, but I think they use a really bright color here. Maybe I'll choose a different fabric, I'm not sure yet. So that's it. Those are my crazy plans. Again, I'm not going to start anything until I finish something. So we'll see how much I get through in the year. I know that last year I had, was it 34 finishes? So it's possible, since a lot of them are small. We'll see how it goes. So that's all my stitching stuff. Just going forward, I'll keep following my WIP Go plans and try to incorporate as many of these new starts as I can. So yeah, a life update. I had an absolutely fantastic time when my brother was here. It had been 14 years since we'd seen each other, but when he got off that plane, it was like I had seen him yesterday. It makes me emotional thinking about it, but we had a great time reminiscing, catching up, showing him around. We took him up to the mountains. We took him to Wendover to see the salt flats, which were flooded since we've had so much snow this year. So it was like a lake rather than, normally you can drive out there and drive on the salt flats, but we couldn't this time. Took him to the Great Salt Lake, just took him downtown, Salt Lake City. We took him out and about as much as we could, but we also had a lot of time just hanging out at home, just enjoying each other's company. He and my daughter Katrina got along really well. The last time he had seen her, she was 12. And so it was, and Sarah was 8. So it was different for him to interact with them as adults. And he and Katrina really got along well. They played video games, went to scary movies, watched scary movies. It was really nice, really, really nice. It was really hard to let him go. I hope it won't be nearly as long when I see him again, and I hope that I'll get to see my other brother at some point too. So around here, we haven't done a lot of work on the house. Steve was working on the master shower because it started leaking, and that became a priority, and he had to shift projects around. But then he was going down our deck stairs one day, oh gosh, I think it was like 2 days after Joseph got here, and he fell, landed on his back and smacked his head, and thank goodness he could have been way more seriously hurt, but it affected his back. He hurt his back quite badly, and all the work on the house had to be put on hold because he had to let his back heal. He couldn't even lay flat in bed at night. For about 2 weeks he had to sleep sitting up. So thankfully that's doing a lot better, and we're very grateful that that wasn't worse than it was. So now he's very careful when he goes down those stairs. He's extremely busy in his lab job, his dental lab job. He works during the day with his full-time work, and then he has his part-time lab job. He's very, very, very busy right now. So hasn't had a lot, even though his back's healed, he hasn't had a lot of time to work on the house because of that. Katrina, as I've talked about before, she had been unofficially diagnosed with POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And she got a bunch of tests done with a specialist, and she got confirmation that yes, it absolutely is POTS. She hasn't got an appointment to see the specialist yet. I don't even know if that will happen, to be honest. The specialist is the only one in this area. There's not a ton of things they can do for POTS. So it sounds like she'll just work through her doctor like she's been doing. She also was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome last year, but that seems to have improved some, which we're thankful for. She quit her job in the service center for the credit union where she was working at home because she just doesn't do well in jobs like that. And she started working for another credit union part-time. It's quite a good situation. She used to work for this credit union, then she went to another one. Now she's back in this one because they allow you to work 30 hours a week with full benefits. So that's what she's doing at the moment. Sarah is doing fine. We don't see her a lot, but as far as I know, she's doing fine. With the snow last week, she left to go to work, and a couple of hours later, I found out that she'd been driving to work, and she was like 2 miles away from our house, and somebody started spinning out of control in the snow. And so the only way she could escape being hit was to drive down a neighborhood street where she got stuck. She tried to turn around and go back on the main road, but she got completely stuck. And the police had to come and try and dig her out, and they couldn't get her out. There was so much snow that they just couldn't get her out. The neighbors in that neighborhood came out and tried. One lady took her in and gave her hot chocolate and wrapped her in a blanket. And so the police brought her home. And later that night, when the snow had stopped, the neighbors in that neighborhood texted her and said, "We've dug you out and we think you can get out of the neighborhood now." So my husband and Sarah went over and they were able to get her home. Very, very grateful for those neighbors for helping her like that. You hear a lot of really nasty stuff going on, and there is a lot of bad stuff going on in the world, but there's a lot of very good people. And then the next day I had an appointment with my cardiologist. So Katrina and I were leaving, and it wasn't snowing, but we were reversing out of the driveway and we got stuck. There were so many snowbanks, even though my husband had used a snowblower and shoveled, and we got stuck, could not move. And so we ended up with 3 people that I presume live around here. One of them we knew, he lives two doors down, but the other 2 we don't know. And for about an hour, they didn't have to, they chose to dig us out of there. And I ended up missing. I couldn't have got to my appointment on time. So I called the office and they did a virtual appointment, which was good. So yeah, it's like, we've never been stuck in snow like that. And for it to happen 2 days in a row was just crazy. So me, it's just the same old, just dealing with the same old chronic health stuff. My cardiologist wants me to do a stress echo test to make sure my heart's healthy, because he would like me to start this particular medication to try and control the atrial fibrillation, which is becoming more and more frequent. I'm very, very scared to try the medication, but I'll go and I'll have the stress test and we'll see what happens. Just trying to deal with all the other health stuff. During this period of transition with the weather, I tend to get worse with the dizziness issues that I have. But just trying to work. What else can you do but just keep pushing on? I've been quite low since my brother left. I miss him so much. There's something about having somebody around that shares your background. You know, grew up with him, speaks the same language. Even though we speak English in Scotland, there's a lot of words that are different, a lot of phrases that are different, that I just don't use very much over here because, you know, nobody uses them here. So it was just really nice to have him here and to, I don't know, I just can't explain it. It was just really nice. But I'm coming out of that gloom. And if the weather would improve, that probably would help a lot. But so there's nothing much going on. We're starting to talk about where we're going to be where we're going to go on our RV trips this year. But we haven't made any decisions for sure. So we're hanging in there. I hope things are well with you. Every time I do this, I say I hope to do these more frequently, and I do. I would like to do a video every 2 weeks. I'll hope for that. But like I said, life and health and other stuff get in the way, and all we can do is the best that we can do. So thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for sharing my hobby, this hobby that we get so excited about. I appreciate you all very much, and take care until next time. Bye for now.